There is a kind of silence that feels peaceful. And then there is a kind of silence that hides things. For 7 years, my marriage lived inside the first kind. Or so I believed. Nothing was loud. Nothing was broken. Nothing demanded attention. And that's why I didn't notice. Because secrets don't always announce themselves. Some of them wait patiently, while life continues around them. My name is Elena Moore. And this is the story of how I discovered that my husband had been carrying a truth I never agreed to live with, for 7 long years. I used to believe that love, real love, was quiet. Not dramatic. Not overwhelming. Just steady. That belief shaped everything about how I chose my husband. I met Thomas Moore in Portland, Oregon, during a season of my life when I wasn't searching for anything new. It was raining. The cafe was nearly empty. I was reading a book I loved when he walked over. That was how we started talking. Thomas had a way of listening that made silence feel safe. He didn't interrupt. He didn't rush. I mistook that calmness for emotional depth. And maybe it was. But calmness can also be a place where things hide. We dated slowly. Months passed before I learned where he grew up. Years passed before I realized how carefully he avoided details. Whenever I asked about his past, he answered just enough to satisfy curiosity, but never enough to invite questions. I told myself, everyone has chapters they don't revisit. When he proposed, there were no fireworks. Just certainty. And certainty felt like the safest thing in the world. Marriage settled into routine. We moved to Boise, Idaho. We bought furniture together. We chose paint colors. Thomas handled documents, finances, long-term planning. I trusted him with everything that required structure. Trust is built quietly. And so is dependency. I didn't know then how much of my sense of security rested in his hands. There were moments, small ones, that made me pause. Not fear. Just hesitation. He grew tense around official paperwork. He delayed renewing documents. He avoided conversations involving legal clarity. But there was no infidelity. No cruelty. No emotional absence. So I dismissed my discomfort. Because love often teaches us to explain away what doesn't fit. The truth did not arrive loudly. It arrived on an ordinary afternoon. I was organizing old files, nothing urgent, nothing suspicious. Inside a folder I had never opened before was an envelope. Dated 7 years earlier. Inside was a legal notice. It referenced a marriage. One that did not include me. I sat on the floor for a long time. I remember noticing how quiet the house was. That was the moment my understanding of my life shifted, not violently, but completely. When I showed Thomas the document, he did not deny it. He closed his eyes. And in that silence, I understood that the truth had always been there, waiting. He told me about a marriage that ended emotionally but never legally. He told me about fear. About avoidance. About choosing silence because it was easier than honesty. For 7 years, he had lived with a truth that I never consented to carry. The betrayal wasn't dramatic. It was existential. It made me question what consent means. What trust requires. What love owes the truth. I wasn't angry all the time. Mostly, I was tired. We are still together. Slowly. Carefully. Honestly, no. But every day, I ask myself, can love survive a truth that waited 7 years to be told? Is honesty still honesty when it arrives too late? And if you were in my place, would you stay?